Right, it's gonna be a little bit, so let's open this. All right. So let's go to here. One, let's turn the AC on. One, let's turn the AC on. Two, let's get the camera. Three, let's go to voiceover. No. Let's activate. What's up? And let's do this. I'm gonna
apologize
skip a
to some
bit.
of the people that had provided information that may not be included in this video. My primary intent here is not to serve as judge, jury, and executioner.
Okay,
and
so
I know there are a lot of stories to be
pause
heard,
real
but
quick.
too much discussion on a...
So here's the rundown, right? I'm actually gonna turn this down a bit. So the precedence, if anyone is here, I may give a little bit. Let's turn this down a little. So, long story short, the whole scenario that's going on right now is just the idea. Way back in the day, I played this game. I was a content creator for it. There was a really big falling out with everything, and there, was a lot of things behind the scenes for this community that weren't necessarily spectacular. Have a personal, I guess you could say, interest, because it's a cool game. I'm actually playing the recode in the background. This is actually super, it's kind of why the game died in the way that it did, or at least this community died, let alone the whole spectrum of the thing. I've had personal issues with this guy that just kind of rung. Ooh. There's a baby stego over there. I saw you. Alright, we gotta look for splashes. So if anyone doesn't know and is unaware, there is a community that was known as Isla Nublar, which has since almost completely disappeared off the face of the planet because it's had to be rebranded and renamed and remade so many times that in and of itself, I'm actually going to go back to where that stego just was. We can't. We can't join. I gotta invite him into the group. Oh, it's Green Bug. One sec, reacting to... What the? Wait, where's the alert box? What just happened? Thank you so much, Cypher. Did it not pop up? Uh-oh.
Oh my god, I just pooped myself!
There it is. Thank you so much, Cypher X505 for the sub. Welcome back to the storm. 1 month subscriber. Thank you, thank you. Alright, so we're gonna go. Okay, we're gonna get some food, and I'm gonna actually go back to playing this video. Alright, let's see. Let's see how it goes. From what I know, dinosaurs, let's go, roar! Roar means I love you,
topics
dinosaur.
detracts from the whole. Plus, if I were to include everything, this video would be nearly 2 hours long. However, the provided additional context was very important information for me to have in my decision making, and for that, I thank you. So we will first run through a basic history of events. We'll go through the documentation and proof of Peaky's conviction, as well as the documents Peaky, or rather his grandfather, provided to the Isla Nublar admins claiming his innocence, and then we'll run through some of the basic public perceptions surrounding Isla Nublar that I feel helped contribute to the uproar currently being faced, and then my final opinions on the matter.
We're fishing.
I would also like to point out that the YouTuber
It's
and
Edwin, by the
Isla
way. No
owner
wonder.
Insomnia
Duh.
tagged me in
I
on
know
this
it's
on
you,
Twitter,
Mr. Hard
which I
Cipher.
otherwise might not have been aware of what was happening. So thanks to him for doing so, as I have been able to help.
And let me
direct
guess,
traffic
Valley
and
of
make sure
Valentine
information
is
verified.
Ash?
While I will
Wow.
keep the content of this video non-explicit, I recommend if you are a child.
Oh, so
or
let
are
me know if
disturbed
the
by
audio
such
of the
topics, or if you
video
happen
is
to have
too
children
loud or too
around,
soft.
please leave now.
I'm just gonna look for.
A lot has
ripples.
happened in a very short period of time, so this segment will be strictly timeline with a little context.
Can't forget
but
to
I will
sniff.
go further
Every now and
in
again
depth
you
in
find
the specific
gold.
evidence and posts later on in this video. Back in 2018, Peaky, a Norwegian, was 23 years of age at the time. He lived with his younger sister and
Okay.
parents, as well as his wife, who he
I
apparently
knew
married in
a
the
little bit
Philippines.
about this
His
guy
wife only
from the
lived there
community. He
part-time,
was an
with the two of them
admin.
traveled back and
He was
forth
kind of
between the
a
two countries
laid
at
back,
different times.
quiet
In April
guy.
of 2018, the Norwegian police conducted
And the whole
a
reason I'm
search of
doing
the
this is
home
because
due
I
to
came
Peaky's
back
father being
after probably
arrested under
about 8
suspicion
months of
abuse
like
Peaky's
radio
sister. According
silence,
to court documents, Peaky
and
knew that his
holy
father
crap,
was being
the
reported
entire
for the
community
abuse, and
is
he
like
had asked
gone.
his sister to tip the police
And
off
it's
that their
been
father kept
rebranded,
what they
new
stated as,
management,
quote,
new everything.
abusive material, which is known in the United States as kiddie porn. As a result of that, all electronic devices were seized for forensic and data analysis. This included Peaky's computer, his father's computer, an external hard drive, several USB thumb drives, and Peaky's cell phone. Between all such devices, Peaky was found to be in possession of 14,466 files of CP, which
What?
broke down to 4,674 unique pictures
14,000?
and 9,762 unique videos. And the children depicted within those ranged in age from between 1 year to approximately 12 years
I
of
heard a
age.
dryo.
Yes, you heard that right. 1 year old.
And 1 year
And
old.
along with that, a USB thumb drive was found to contain the rubber ducky keystroke injection hacking software. The main hearing was held on June 6, 2020, where Peaky pled not guilty, although the courts didn't see it the same way. In December of 2020, the senior administrators were informed that Peaky would be going to jail. Apparently, Peaky had told them that it was for the rubber ducky hacking software, where lower administrators and moderators, as well as the public, were told that Peaky was going on vacation for a little over a year. In May of 2021, Peaky's sister came forward, informing one of the administrators in private about what Peaky was really in jail for.
And so here's the thing with this whole scenario. I just don't understand how a community that based like 25,000 people. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's get low. Alright, I gotta slow down. Oh, I almost died. That was almost close. Come on. I see the ripples. Oh, there it is. Caught a fish. But a community of almost 25,000 people. And this guy, like, the owner, his name was Oil at the time. Or went by Oil. IRL name, I guess I won't really disclose. But he, at the time, like, this administration team was making a very, very pretty penny off of, like, basically kids using their parents' money. In a game that is, like, you already pay $60 for the game. So they made a secondary business just off of the community to, like, basically, like, you pay money for dino grows. You'd pay, like, $5. You could have your dino grown to full, only for your dino to, like, in, you know, a matter of hours, die, and then you pay another $5 to get it grown again. Like, it's a pretty heavy, pretty smart, like, business standard, but you would think you would have more protection over the community that you've come to build and profit off of, let alone just out of the, you know, moral standpoint. You should really I think we ate all the fish here. It kind of sucks. Out of the, like, moral standpoint, everything that went on and was said and done, like, they just have such gross negligence. Because there was even times where I was playing the game, and obviously you'd be playing the game with, you know, random people, and then a kid pops in the chat, and he's maybe, like, 9, and he just wants to play a dinosaur game, and that's, you know, by all means, go for it. But then you would have people who obviously don't, they're, you know, edgy 16-year-olds and don't have any recourse for their behavior, especially around kids, and they just say whatever they want. And there's nothing enforced in the community that says otherwise. So it's just kind of do as you do and let be done as it is. Unless it was, like, affecting their profit, they wouldn't do anything.
4, providing a link to a news article discussing the story, and several days later, Peaky was banned from the Isla Nublar Discord. Then a few days ago, the senior admins stated that they had obtained jail transfer and leave requests from Peaky's grandfather, taking them as proof that Peaky was jailed for the hacking software and not for CP, and they unbanned him. His sister began spamming the Discord channels in warning and was subsequently banned for that spamming. Particularly, I believe she conducted that within the bot command channels. When asked, the senior admin stated to me that they did not know at the time that the account was Peaky's sister. And one admin, Serena, stated that she attempted to send a friend request to the sister once she learned of this, but was never added back, and as such, no discussion between the two ever took place. Hello there, Editing Sid here. As I was recording this audio, I did receive word from Serena that on Sunday she did manage to have a discussion with Peaky's sister, as did Oil. And within that, I will note to Serena's credit that she did keep her cool when confronted with an immediately aggressive teenager who seemed to want to be anywhere other than there. As for Oil's conversation with her, it was apparently over voice, and I do not know what was said there. Now, back to the rest of the video. As the senior admin stated, there was insufficient proof of Peaky's conviction of CP. Peaky's sister submitted via email a request to the Norwegian legal system to obtain a copy of the court documents, which, upon showing sufficient cause for the request, they provided her with the document. Peaky's sister then provided that document to another Discord member, who passed the information along to another unnamed community manager, as well as other former members of the administration staff and some of the clan leaders. Despite having the court documents in hand, Oil and Plump Raptor, who has recently stepped down due to unethical zealots doxing him, they stated that they didn't 100% believe the allegations. Now, at this point, debates were raging within the Discord, and it has been difficult to gain the full picture. However, Serena, a senior administrator, and Oil, the Discord owner, stated to me in a conversation conducted on Saturday that they had never received the court document for quite some time on Friday, and when they did receive it, they had it translated and eventually took action and rebanned Peaky, with that ban taking place at around 9:30 p.m. Pacific time on Friday. However, that was well after Peaky had left the Discord, stating he wished to, quote, avoid the drama. During this time, another senior admin had stated to clan leaders that Peaky had already left, so what was the point?
We kind of would like to see the documentation, just so...
Really doesn't matter, he left. So, we can all just move on.
Was there a reason why he left?
He got tired of the drama.
Also on Friday evening, a town hall meeting was conducted by Oil and Plump Raptor, discussing the situation and taking questions from a couple of the members of the community. And then around 3 a.m., Oil released an official statement regarding the situation. Through the remainder of Saturday and today, a staggering number of screenshots of conversations and accounts have surfaced, coming from, at my current tally, a total of 57 former community managers, administrators, and moderators, all having complaints with how Isla Nublar was managed. Many of these individuals had never encountered each other until the last 72 hours within a group Discord. Still, other former administrators and senior administrators reached out to me directly and have not had contact with any of the others, and this combined total of staff spans the entirety of the existence of Isla Nublar, and all paint a very similar picture in terms of perception surrounding Oil and how the community is managed. I also had a 2-hour-long conversation with Oil and Serena regarding the situation and the concerns people have raised, while doing my best to offer advice for them on how to handle things moving forward. And somehow this is still an active situation with more information that came in even a mere couple of hours ago at the time I recorded this. But for the moment, let's discuss the evidence itself, as some of it seems to have confused numerous people.
Now, I believe either the video lagged or the video paused, but we will see. Let me go. I'll fix it in a sec. He scared the living shit out of me. He could have eaten me if he wanted to. I'm very happy he did not. That was a jump scare.
Play War Thunder now. Join millions of players across the...
Bear in mind that the evidence discussed in these segments will be focused on the situation.
So I guarantee
Peaky and
that little
Peaky
red,
alone.
yeah, it was
There
a
will be
bleeding
an additional
dino.
segment where I discuss some of the other
Deinosuchus.
instances that have been brought to my attention, and some of this might not make the Isla Nublar community happy, but facts are the facts, and I have to present them as such. The first time I was made aware of this situation was via Anthomnia on Twitter, where I was directed to this Reddit post made by Crazy and Irish. It discusses the events that have unfolded regarding this situation, and within it she posted this news article from NRK.no, which is the Norwegian version of the BBC, meaning it is a government-owned news organization. Within that article, they discuss a 25-year-old man who was set to stand trial under Section 311 of the Penal Code. More on Norway's bloody penal code system in a moment, for being in possession of thousands of files of CP. As he was not convicted yet, the newspaper article refused to mention the person by name, and this was taken as insufficient evidence by Oil and his senior admins. As such, Peaky's sister submitted a request to the Norwegian authorities to have the court document released to her, as apparently court documents are considered privileged information within Norway. They stated that she needed a valid reason, and when that reason was expressed, specifically being that this related to Peaky being in a position of authority within a community commonly frequented by underage individuals, they provided the transcript to her, which was then sent to former senior admins, as the sister was now banned on the Discord, who in turn sent the information to community managers they felt they could trust in order to act in good faith. And I have also seen some concerns raised as to the legitimacy of that email itself, where I did view a video from the sister showing her email and showing the email thread involved. So I can state that that is legitimate. And the transcript will not be gone over in its entirety due to some segments of the text being simply too graphic in nature for me to ever want to have those words spill from my lips. Also, even though this person is convicted of the CP charge, I cannot legally show his name. So that is redacted for that reason. And also bear with me as this was run through Google Translate. There were 2 charges raised against Peaky. The first is Penal Code 311, the acquiring or possession of CP. The second charge was Penal Code 201, unjustifiable possession of what equates to a hacking tool, specifically the rubber ducky keystroke injection tool on a USB thumb drive. To both of these charges, Peaky pled not guilty. And within that background of the court document, it reads, the accused lived at the time of the indictment at the home of his parents, together with his younger sister. His wife, whom he is married to in the Philippines, and who, according to defendant's statements in court, is not a valid marriage in Norway, was periodically with him in Norway. She is nevertheless referred to as his wife in this judgment. The accused traveled from time to time to the Philippines. He was home from his last visit to the Philippines in late February 2018. In April 2018,
so I presume what he's trying to claim is that it's not his, even though it's in the house of him and his... I see some banners over there. Although it's him and his sisters and stuff. He's trying to claim it's his wife's, which is apparently not legally recognized, so that's all interesting. These guys are so clumsy on the ground. I'm going for this dryo. He just juked me, man. Man, he's juking me. I don't like it. It jumps. I can't believe it jumps. I don't even think I bit it. He crashed into the tree. Let's find something easier. Alright, continue.
In 2018, the police carried out a search of the home the accused lived in. The search took place in connection with the defendant's father being arrested, suspected of abuse against his daughter, defendant's sister. The accused knew that the father would be reported for such abuse before the arrest and search took place, and he explained in court that he, in that regard, asked the sister to tip the police that the father kept abusive material. Defendant had a separate room in the basement of the residence. The police seized what they found of PCs and data storage devices throughout the home. After making the seizure, they became aware of some of the units belonging to the defendant in this case. The units were therefore returned to him. On that, at the time, mirror copies of the contents of the devices had already been sent for analysis. Through the analysis, it became clear that there were large amounts of abusive material as well on the units belonging to the accused. On that basis, the police conducted a new search where new seizures were made of units with the abusive material on them. It has been found illegal material on all the 7 objects that are now allegedly confiscated. In conjunction with the searches, the police also found the object mentioned in the indictment item 2. After the first search, large amounts of abusive material were also found on the defendant's units. Nordstrom's district court ruled on 16th of October 2019, where he was convicted, among other things, for violation of the Penal Code 2005 and subsection 311 first paragraph. This applied to 18,521 image and video files. Analysis of the material found on the defendant's units have been assessed up against his father's device and found that larger parts of the material are the same. Now, there's no need to go through a full ugly breakdown of the entire document and the family history related to this case. However, suffice to say, some of the material was Peaky's and some of the material was belonging to his father. Potentially, Peaky planted the material on his father's computer, whereas Peaky claimed the inverse, where his father supposedly planted the data on him. Now, even to the extent that Peaky had CP on his phone that he had viewed. Now, in addition, Peaky himself gave the court contradictory statements regarding his defense. And as I said, the description of the acts contained within those videos and photos were horrendous, including acts conducted against babies, children 3 to 6 years of age, 5 to 7 years of age, and girls ranging between 7 to 12 years of age. In regards to the rubber ducky keystroke injector, the court did not find or was unable to prove where the prosecution alleged the following. The prosecuting authority has stated that there is evidence that the accused had intended to use the piece illegally, in that he has an interest in influencing the net. It is shown to messages he has received a request to hack an Instagram account, and message contact as is about DDoSing of networks, which the court understands as affecting a wireless network so that capacity is reduced. Documentation has also been submitted showing that the defendant's user has been linked to activity to which Kripos has reacted. Without it, as far as the court has understood, is shown that he has used the piece itself for something illegal. The prosecution has further pointed out that he did not have a valid purpose for having the piece, such as, among other things, IT managers in companies can have. Now, in addition, Peaky apparently claimed that he bought the chip to learn how to code applications such as Adobe Reader, which, to my mind, is such a ridiculous apples to oranges comparison that I find rather laughable the prosecution didn't pick up on it. However, at the end of the day, Peaky was acquitted of the hacking tool charge. However, he was convicted of the charge of CP. At the court's discretionary measure, the original sentence was set at 1 year, 8 months out of a maximum penalty of 2 years. However, it was reduced due to the overly long period of time that had been taken between the charges being filed and the court hearing, and so the sentence was reduced by 5 months to 1 year, 3 months being imposed, as well as 8,000 kroner to cover legal costs. Which, while I know that sentence may seem startlingly low for many of the viewers, Norwegian law is not nearly as strict in terms of sentencing of such things as the United States is, where such a charge would carry a prison sentence maximum of 20 years versus Norway's 2. But moving along. Now, prior to Oil and the senior admins receiving the court case document, they had unbanned Peaky and reinstated his role, which was what led to the uproar. The reason for this was due to their receiving a total of 6 legal documents from who they stated was Peaky's grandfather and was used as a claim of his innocence, such as the one on your screen now. And yes, I do have all 6 of those documents and have reviewed them. Once translated, these documents were facility and housing transfer requests, work release requests, and vacation requests, because apparently Norwegian prisoners can take a vacation, or hopefully it's a mistranslation.
The server crashed.
This was not seen by any outside of the senior administrators as evidence of Peaky's innocence. However, Oil and Serena, a senior admin for Isla Nublar, stated that their reasoning was the penal code subsections that were listed on several of the documents, specifically 2009, subsections 201 and 204. Reason being was when they looked those up, they came across Penal Code Chapter 21, where it states subsection 201 as being unjustified handling of access data, computer programs, etc., which carries with it a fine or imprisonment of up to 1 year, and subsection 204 as being burglary of computer systems, which I think is a mistranslation as the description states essentially hacking, and carries with it a fine or jail sentence of up to 2 years. And within the court document, it listed Penal Codes 311 and 201. Where in this document, Chapter 26, they list Penal Code 311 as the CP, and there is no subsection 201 or 204 listed.
Someone say bless you.
And then we have in this document of Norway General Civil Penal Code, we have 201 listed as CP, 204 listed as CP, and 311, which relates to maritime felonies. However, the main focus is subsections 201 and 204, where we have two different definitions depending on which document you look at. And when I was searching on Google, the first result for 201 showed the hacking definition and not the one for CP. It took some digging and some help from No Black Thunder, thank you sir for helping me out at 5 a.m., your time is very much appreciated, to figure out what was going on there. However, the documents that were obtained by Oil and the senior admins did provide one crucial link in the chain. Something that I don't think they fully understood was that all of the documents involved listed his full name, first, middle, last, without exception, in multiple inappropriate areas. Now, up until that point, all we had was the moniker Peaks from the court document, which, while substantially similar to Peaky, didn't provide me with a direct one-to-one correlation. These did. And when the Isla Nublar senior administrators gained access to the court document, I feel they should have made that connection as well. Which also ties back into the first news article that was sent regarding this situation, and also a subsequent news article which was also sent to me by No Black Thunder, which discusses the conviction of Peaky and his sentencing. After all of this, Oil and Plump Raptor held their town hall to over 400 people, where Anthomnia and myself were both listening in. Within that, they seemed very unprepared, and Plump Raptor did the vast majority of the speaking. Within it, they took questions from several individuals, where people were concerned about their unbanning Peaky, even though, based on the evidence that Isla Nublar had at the time, that Peaky was in possession of hacking tools and held an interest in hacking, while the server has within it a large number of children, along with debates about the evidence and how it has been handled. And in terms of the rubber ducky device, be aware that it is a programmable device, but is commonly used for penetration testing for security audits, and the code itself is available on GitHub. And it is not a key logger, it is a key injector, where its intended use is to mimic computer keyboard inputs in order to break the human interface trust within the operating system. At around 3 a.m. after the meeting, Oil released a lengthy statement in the announcements channel where he addressed the current state of affairs and issued a direct apology to the community. Also, at the end of the town hall meeting, Oil had stated that they would do another on Saturday, although that never materialized, and from my discussions with him, they were planning on doing it Sunday instead, and I informed him they should make their community aware of that change, as well as set a time for when it would be taking place, an action that has not yet materialized.
Welcome to Raid.
Yeah, he's gone. I tried to look him up because he was in my server. He's gone.
Legends is a free-to-play game for your PC or Mac running on the Plarium Play platform.
As stated previously, I had a combined total of 3 hours worth of voice communications with Oil and Serena on Saturday. One 2-hour-long conversation and one 1-hour-long conversation after they had gotten wind that I felt I had been lied to in 2 specific areas. During those conversations, I discussed all of the evidence with them, got their recounting events, and their side of how these events played out. Now, in that, I also offered advice on how to handle the outraged community, as I felt they could have done better and should make sure that certain policies and procedures are put into place in order to better ensure the protection of their community and themselves when incidents of pedo scum arise, which can and will happen, especially within video game communities frequented predominantly by children. As I said before, predators go where the prey is, an analogy that players of the Isle should understand quite well. Now, in that communication, I found them to be very receptive to our dialogue and eager for my perspective. However, there were those 2 points of contention that I felt warranted bringing up here before we talk about public perception, as well as one instance that, after discussions with Serena, I still feel warrants mentioning because it involves an instance of grooming where it was deemed insufficient evidence to proceed, and I'll explain my thought process behind that similarly to how I expressed them to Serena. The first surrounds the player known as Daddy Beard, who goes by the current moniker Mr. Beard. and the situation surrounding this video clip.
Oh my god.
Who kicked me from server 2?
Me,
Who's me?
little demon.
Did you kick the other person? Did you
No.
kick the other person that called me a faggot first?
We can't discuss other information. We can't
well,
discuss
you
anything
should.
from other players.
If
should.
they said something like that,
Then we would
they
handle
will
it,
be
but we
handled.
can't discuss it with you.
Oh, okay. You should ask who I am.
Your name's Daddy Beard. We are
Yeah.
already aware.
Yeah. Don't kick me again.
I mean, you're banned for 6 hours.
Then I'll shut the server off. And I'll be contacting Oil as well.
Okay.
Good luck with your job.
The reason that he seemed to be so willing to throw his weight around.
Well, and not only that, Oil is corrupt and kind of a piece of shit. I've talked to that guy multiple times about like potential advertising like possibilities, but he was never receptive because he was all in it for personal gain. Let alone, this guy had no regard or remorse for like anything or anyone other than himself. Oh, I was gonna say, why is that like tree turning? Hopefully there's no... There's no scary crocs. You tried. You thought. I must be crazy. Alright, I'm going this way. I heard some cool dinos. Maybe stegos or something. This is like turn it on only territory. Uh-oh, I die. Oh wow. I just not enough stam.
Was due to images such as this one, where he apparently DDoSes servers and communities he doesn't like. And within that 2-hour conversation with Oil, the topic was, for all intents and purposes, hand-waved away, and Oil made like he did not know who this person was, and it was implied that this was just a person making idle threats.
I don't know, I don't remember ever dealing with that situation. That's so long ago. Hellabutts, Draco.
Hellabutts, little demon, like that's from a very long time ago. I don't know if I was staff at the time. I've never seen this.
I mean, people say all the time they'll contact me, but it doesn't necessarily mean they do. So I don't know if he was just saying that to like scare them, because people join the chat sometimes like, I'm gonna go straight to Oil. And then they'll ask me, hey, did this guy ever contact you? Like, oh, no, he never did.
And the reason that I felt I was lied to was because of this screenshot from August of last year, where Oil knew full well who Daddy Beard was, and that Daddy Beard was essentially exempt from the rules due to his being able to take the Isla Nublar servers down at will. In follow-up conversations, Oil stated that he wasn't sure how to handle the questions that I made, and wasn't sure he had a full recollection of things, so he dodged around it. To which I had stated something to the effect of, instead of lying to me or misleading me, simply say that, and we could circle back to it after he had a chance to do so. I also expressed to him just how dangerous such a scenario would be for both him and the operation of his business, and to the community and the in-game moderators as well, who have to suffer through someone acting in such a manner and being told to essentially suck it up. It causes morale issues, it breeds discontent, and it is just pure toxicity for a gaming community to be, for all intents and purposes, held hostage in such a manner. Now, in addition, I was assured that the server hosting had been migrated to a service that offers better protection, and those concerns aren't really there anymore, which I was very happy to hear that. The second point of objection that I had where I felt I had been lied to was where they had stated to me that the community always comes first, and they always report pedos to other Isle community staff such as Isla as a matter of policy. This is to help ensure that pedos don't just cycle from one community to another, and I was very heartened to hear that this is the case, as protecting the vast number of children that play and enjoy that game is very important. However, I found that in one interaction regarding a pedo who went by the name Fire, this was not the case, where a former community manager presented me this screenshot where Oil stated that all he was concerned about was the loss of $1,500. Now, in addition, that community manager did send me the video that was presented as evidence, which was a review of the girl's DMs with Fire, and the evidence was very clear-cut. That discussion was conducted within the 2-hour call, and they simply stated that it was an initial frustration, but they did ban Fire and notified the other community administrators as per their standard policy. But again, after that call had ended, I was presented with this image where Oil was actually considering not reporting Fire to the other communities in order to keep the total $3,000 that Fire had donated. This, of course, had me incensed and ready to put them on blast or even considering such a course of action, and frankly, it still does to a certain extent. The only mitigating factor for me in that regards to those actions came from the follow-up call where they showed a continuation of that conversation where Crazy and Irish offered to not go through with the standard route of communication and instead offered to let the other server owners know on the sly so they could report him per their standard procedures and keep the money. However, ultimately, they did refund the money and ban and report Fire. However, to my mind, in all moral standards that I can think of, this should not have even been a consideration to not report a pedo to the other servers out there. Allowing the potential of this person packing their bags and becoming some other community's problem and potentially harming another underage girl, to me, that is entirely unthinkable, and I did very much chastise Oil for his actions there, as I found that thought process to be entirely reprehensible. And then there is the instance of a 21-year-old, almost 22, attempting to groom a 13-year-old, nearly 14, where the end result was the 13-year-old wishing to self-delete. Now, a report was filed to and investigated by Serena, where she found no evidence to proceed. Where in that, she assumed the user Apex Cerberus and his alt Johnsy were two different people, instead of asking what, in my opinion, would be relevant questions. The report was initially filed in August of 2020 against Apex Cerberus, where Serena asked to see everything. And the first image sent was this one, which was rather blatant in nature. After receiving that, Serena stated that he seemed to stop, asking if that was the case or not, and then asking to see more in order to verify. The reporting party stated that they could get more when the 13-year-old wakes up, and Serena clarifies that she would need to see conversations between the two and asking the questions, does he force her into this relationship? Does he threaten her? Is he controlling her because of her age, etc.? Which, I'm sorry, when you're asking questions of such an important subject, you don't include the term etc. You need to be clear and focused and direct. And the evidence shown contains the 13-year-old stating his age is nearly 22, asking him if she can share the nature of their relationship with another, and apparently video chatting as she responds excitedly to his being shirtless in bed. Along with it, him getting jealous because he misunderstood her quoting a friend thinking she had some other guy, and a couple of screenshots of him telling her he loves her numerous times over the course of a few days and her reciprocating. And then another image of him being jealous because she was talking to another guy in a manner he didn't like, along with him complaining about when he tries to talk dirty to her. And then finally a message where the young girl ends things with him stating, well, you know what? You can read that for yourself. In response to that, Serena stated, "I legit don't see anything here that I can act on," because of the fact that she believed that Johnsy and Apex Cerberus were two different individuals. And within this, I see a very classic example of grooming a minor, one where the outcome is entirely uncertain. It's known that the 13-year-old wanted to self-delete over this situation, and for all we know, she might have. There is that possibility. And that is an extreme danger that is faced by communities with predators like this and making any sort of assumptions in regards to a report being filed. When Serena expressed confusion surrounding my discussion of properly asking questions,
I'm gonna give a little input here. I wanna stay within the terms of fair use, not just playing the video, but also giving my input. So from this point on, from what I know, like the situation doesn't get much better. It stays pretty chaotic for a while. Not just on the individual level, but as like a community. Oil is like a young guy, right? 25 at tops. And all of a sudden is running a, fairly robust business, averaging maybe like 30,000 a month. And then out of the blue, everything goes haywire, and like he's seeing dollar signs while other people are seeing the moral compass, right? This is this guy's livelihood, which realistically, I'm not giving him a cop-out. I think reprehensible is a good way of putting it. He should have been a lot more commanding in how his business is run. But just the fact that like he puts a dollar sign to a moral question just reads he's in it for the wrong reasons. He's not there because he enjoys the game or he likes the community or anything. He literally wants to make a buck and go. And if, I'm hearing lots of yelling right now. If we're looking for food, we gotta go towards the noise. But reprehensible, putting a dollar sign to a moral question or a moral obligation is like no excuse. And it's sad to see the way that everything was handled, given so many opportunities. When anybody who's ever taken like even just a PR class knows that like there are certain lines that there's not like, oh, 3 strikes you're out. If you cross a certain line, there is no do-over, there is no second chance. It's just, that's it for that. Ooh, nice. Good stuff. But that's it for that opportunity. There shouldn't be... Oh, he ate the whole thing. He ate the whole thing. Can't believe it. He just swallowed it whole. But so, actions pretty reprimandable. It's I don't know, just the whole scenario. And at the end of the day, like I was gone a year, 8 months, whatever it was, of like I like completely cut the game out, and it was when the whole exposing X, Y, and Z, or finding out, like it was the Lazy Stego scenario that Anthomnia outed, that really put like the Isle as a whole in a bad light for me, which mind you, that's judging the majority on the minority, but when it comes to certain situations like this, like, there's, again, actions that are just, like, what's the word? They're hiding in this bush. I will also hide in the bush. Regen some stam. But, you know, there's lines drawn. Like I said, anyone who's ever taken a PR class or anything like that should just know you cross a certain line, especially when it comes to, like, illegal activity, and it's just a one and done. There's no questions asked. There's no beating around the bush. There's no, you know, question or obligation. And there's no, like, this situation, you can argue that it's, like, nuanced, but realistically, somebody who's been accused of, like, having child pee or, like, kiddie porn and vice versa, and then vice versa. Oh, I didn't mean to use my stam to get up there. Oh well. And then, like I said, vice versa, being a community mod in a game primarily, you know, like children or like young teens, like, it's kind of irrefutable. You are not only profiting off of these kids and their parents' money realistically, but you're putting them in danger for something that their parents might not understand. So you have to have the moral responsibility in general. Okay, I gotta lay down, because if we're coming up, like, you have to have the moral responsibility of, like, a parent and guardian for these people who don't know better. And obviously they're kids, they don't know better, and their parents probably don't understand the idea that, like, their kids are being, you know, accessed by older people. When you think, oh, it's a dinosaur game, they run around and, you know, eat each other, great, go at it. But there's a communication aspect, there's a community and facilitation for discords and third parties to profit. It's why, like, Isla Nublar got to as big as it is because you could join the community. It actually has a better community than the original Isle base game, because there's no rules on the Isle. People of, like, the same, you know, same species and stuff can come up, like, there's nuances to it, right? If they really wanted, the Isle could come out with a base of code or base of, you know, base of rules that you can play by. Anyway, you know, but you have a moral obligation, not only as a business owner, but as a good human being. We're just spamming keep calling. Oh my god, look at this. You know, but understandably, the whole thing ends up being just a he's kind of bloody, so maybe a second. There's lots of... Oh, there's my dead body. That is so funny. But it's your, your community. That's your job to you, your livelihood, your community, everything. It's just so
I responded to her with the following. Well, for example, does he force her or threaten her? A good thing to know if it needs to be reported to the authorities, but ultimately irrelevant with a grooming situation in terms of community protection. Is he controlling her because of her age? Whether overtly or discreetly, the answer to that question between a 14-year-old and a 22-year-old will always be yes, due to the naturally induced authority an adult has over a child. It seems he stops after she said she was 13. Now that is a good question. If he legit didn't know and just stopped, then no harm, no foul. When you stated you needed more proof and were provided screens that contained different usernames, that is where I see you made the assumption of 4 different people. But I see no question being asked as to why you're being sent different screens of what appears to be 4 different individuals. What's the context? Why are these usernames different? If these are alts, I would need some sort of information linking the user being reported to the alt. Stuff like that. Aside from those questions, unless I'm being fed selective information, which is also why I wanted to make sure I brought this to your attention, nothing else was asked. As a result of that, a child groomer was apparently left to roam free. Now, I fully subscribe to the premise of innocent until proven guilty and all that entails. However, I do feel that the appropriate questions were never asked, which is also why set policies and procedures for communities such as these very much should be generated in order to do their utmost to limit the possibility of that outcome becoming a reality. Because leaving a 13-year-old child up to the devices of a 22-year-old when you have that information sitting right in front of you is unacceptable.
Norman lost a daughter, that's what we know about him on the first film, and he did horrible, despicable things in order to get a new daughter. Now we're gonna see what else. At the beginning of this story, he does have a family again.
I get my white hair from my mom. Beautiful.
Alright, skipping.
From what I can gather,
conclusion,
the
this is the end.
Isla Nublar, along with Oil and KK's, KK being his wife, have been less than stellar. As expressed to me by Oil and Serena, that they are very concerned about maintaining a safe and enjoyable server and community, and they have always been open about wanting staff to be able to come to them if there are any issues. Whereas the reception I have seen to those remarks from the nearly 60 former administrators and moderators paints a very different picture. Within even the Reddit thread that Crazy Irish posted, there are several examples that perfectly underscore the sentiment that I've seen universally expressed by former staff. As Serena pointed out to me that the majority of those staff are either disenfranchised former staff or people who left on bad terms. However, I feel that may be a justification. Not to me, but to herself. When you're dealing with this many people, many of whom have never even met or heard of each other before the past 72 hours, all sharing similar stories in theme, to this point where one of the more prominent members of this group, Aaron, released a full discussion of events that is fully 20 pages in length, and I'll link that document to the pinned comment down below. Now, in addition to that, were instances where clan leader Rat Honey Mustard, who felt compelled to make an announcement in the clan channels notifying that they were leaving Isla Nublar, had her statement promptly deleted. Oil and Serena stated they had no knowledge of the announcement deletion and had also stated that other clan departure announcements were still up. Editing Sid here again. I did forget to mention while I was recording this that according to Oil and Serena, it is apparently standard Isla Nublar practice to ban a clan once they announce they are leaving, and whomever conducted that action likely accidentally also deleted her posts for the previous 24 hours. I sent them the message that Honey Mustard sent to me so they could post it back up themselves at their request. However, I do not know if that was ever done. Then we have Two Door Poppy, who gave the Nublar team 24 hours to replace the bot tokens before he removed the bots from his Discord account as he was planning on leaving the team. They did not do this, and it resulted in severe issues for the server. They banned him under what they stated as the assumption he was acting maliciously. And when they came to him for aid and refused, Oil threatened legal action against him. And what Two Door Poppy said seems to sum up the sentiment of former staff perfectly. This is all clearly very upsetting, but Nublar has a history of dismissing important and legitimate issues when they are brought to their attention, and shut down any possible dissent and shut it down when attempting to discuss it, as I'm sure you saw in their attempted QA. My experience beyond what I have already shared has been trying and difficult to say the least. I have felt belittled, dismissed, unimportant, and vilified anytime I attempt to discuss, anytime I myself saw issues as a member of their staff team. One of the most noteworthy occasions was when I told them that I had some concerns that I wanted to discuss with them in our designated bot info group chat, because I did not like how things were being handled, lack of communication, and being made to feel like my contributions to the server were not recognized. At the time, my girlfriend was in the hospital, so I had not been as responsive as I was clearly preoccupied. They then took my concern as a threat and removed all my permissions, roles, and access to all of the server boxes, to which they claimed was to prevent malice, although I had only expressed simple concerns and the desire to talk to them about it so we could fix these issues. Instead, I was met with hostility, resentment, and the removal of my identity as a person of importance within Nublar. This later was de-escalated, and they promised me communication would improve, and like all abusive relationships, it did for a time, and then eventually went back to their same old ways. At the core of this, my concern rests with the safety and well-being of those within the Isle and Beasts of Bermuda communities, as Nublar withheld potentially dangerous information. It is also important to me and others in the bot development/tech community that, one, Peaky is not a representative of us, and two, the mistreatment of their staff is what has led to their high turnover rate. Nublar is every bit as bad as you have heard. Sorry if this is messy and a huge wall of text. I tried to provide you with as much evidence as I could, as well as context and my own personal insight. I don't want to undermine the importance of bringing this to light by discussing the treatment of tech support, but I do believe there is a correlation between the treatment of their staff and their willingness to turn a blind eye to someone who committed an actual crime because it benefited them to have him around. Now, I've stated very blatantly to Oil and Serena that they have severe issues in terms of perception and public perception that they need to work on. Whether they can accomplish this or no remains to be seen. And part of the reason it remains to be seen right now is that the Isla Nublar Discord is a literal battleground with more bans taking place than I can count, along with several staff members receiving death threats and being dumped.
Let's go!
Raptor stepped down due to his receiving his own address from 3 different accounts.
Thank you so much, Crexus TV, for the Twitch sub. 7 months, baby. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Welcome back to the storm.
Community members as well as staff that felt like it was a sort of home where new and cherished friends were introduced to them. Oil and Serena seemed, by every account within my conversations with them, to be sincere. But if it's one thing that I know, it's that desire and outcome are quite often 2 very different things. Peaky is a pedo, convicted. This much is fact. To my knowledge, according to admins of the Isle proper and Punch Packet, it would appear that he will be receiving an in-game role as well. To my mind, and this was expressed to Oil and Serena, the major downfall here is Isla Nublar's senior members have allowed the line between friend and business to be so completely blurred to the point where it is, for all practical purposes, non-existent. And that is, to my mind, what helped create the situation that they find themselves in. In addition, I feel a potential lack of self-awareness between the intention.
Thank you so much, Kylo, for the sub. Welcome back to the storm. 17 months! Holy.
To my mind, Peaky should have never been unbent. They allowed their friendship and misinformation to cloud their judgment. And without those willing to speak out, most especially Peaky's sister, a pedo never gained access to a position of authority within a community with a great many children, which is a dangerous proposition to say the least.
This hurts my
However,
eyes.
I do have to say that I'm not a fan of the harassment I've seen the senior admins receive at the hands of some of their community. Doxing,
this is the rock I was
death
trying to get
threats
back
will
to.
never win an argument or a debate. Such actions only create hostility and closed minds, and they will never be regarded as acceptable behavior in my eyes. Now, if Oil and Serena's wishing to do better and to be better are in earnest, then I wish them the best of luck. But action is better suited than words, and it will take time. But if they fail to implement those standards, then they have only themselves to blame. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Sid Alpha, and I'll see you next time.
Alright, interesting. So, I mean, the rise and fall of probably one of the most played or sought after communities to be a part of. Too much crap on my screen, can't see. I need more food. I stick near big guy. Oh, the Dinosuchus. I don't want to get ambushed. Sheesh. Now, I think he's going after the dino. So we gotta find some food. I'm following Big Papa. Try not to die. Just live. Ooh, there's blood. Oh, Pteranodon fell in the water. Come on. So yeah, that's the end of a saga, end of an era. I was there for its prime and gone for its fall, so I'm happy to spend the time I did in there. It was just so poorly run, man. Realistically, oil in them. Every time, ooh, could have broken a leg. Every time I brought like any type of information that could have been seen as damning or anything was brought up to them, it was just met with a cold shoulder and then shrugged off because it didn't affect them, and that's why. Oh well, I don't want to be here. He could go for the little one. Just say, where are the rest of us? We're all hiding. Letting the big guy go for it. If one of those dinos grabs onto us, they grab a hold and pull us in. They're right over there. I want to go. He's getting his stand back. Are we gonna go kill something finally? Let's go. There's two carnos over there. Those gators are ass. Smelling around here is a horrible idea. Can't see anything. Oh. I can't tell. All right. I think that's it. That was pretty much all I wanted to do, is to react to, I guess, the... Oh. Freaking huge. There's so many of us. We're getting bigger by the second. It's getting pretty impressive. Right, so we're currently basically we're doing the war of attrition. We're fighting these gators. They're Dinosuchus. They're much larger than us. But if we can bite them enough with little bites, make them bleed, they'll eventually. It's pretty. We're doing insane. I want Auntie to get back, Because he's probably one of the largest out of all of us. I want to know why I'm like constantly hurt. These guys don't turn very well. You gotta do straight runs, and there's no jumps. You can't like leap that distance. Oh, dude, the servers suck. They're so bad. They just disconnect you randomly. And like the entire server, I guarantee right there, if they figure out that, oh shoot, all those Carnos just stop moving and those dinos come in, they'll probably just go around and slaughter us all. What is it? It's NA3. Yeah, NA3 is down. It's so bad. It's actually really sad too, because a lot of these servers get like DDoSed and taken down almost every other day. So like the servers have a safety reset, so they'll save themselves before they get absolutely annihilated and like shut themselves off, and it just kicks everyone from the server. It's definitely not this one, but I'll see. Maybe I got a dino in here. I'm gonna leave that. No, I don't. Okay, I just recently died on this one, I guess. I should honestly be reporting a bug. Because it's like every 10 seconds there's a bug. Realistically, I just don't know what I want to do. Alright, let's see. That might be it for this game. That's it on this game. You know what? Well, we'll play. And it's so funny. Why do all these games have to have some form of like drama, fallout, just bad, you know, something? God knows. But let's do first looks. At Day of Dragons. Alright, updating, boom. Close. Ooh, it's a little loud for a jump, but it's okay. Now this game is an odd one because it seems that this game doesn't have a game capture. Is that what I'm getting at here? This is as good as it gets for you guys. I will say the soundtrack of this game is good. The playability of it's good, but And so far, it's been a decent community. You know, you don't really get killed off the bat every time. It's actually been okay. Now, I should be a continue. Yes. These are not available. He's a DLC, and this is a continue. So, I already have a dragon on this. On this particular server. Wedgie. Let's go. Kill something. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway. Read all those. Yeah, so I am poisoned. Going to lay down and sleep off the poison real quick. Pretty cool game, pretty entertaining. Alright, I'm no longer poisoned. I may get up now. This is kind of a game that you just AFK growing. Like, you don't have to put a whole lot of like thought process into it, but then towards the end, you know, there's stuff you could do. Get more stuff to do as you go. Also, I just learned about the insert key. No, it's I. So my thirst, sickness. Alright, so we'll drink until we're not thirsty. So I guess it's information tab. So we're drinking, our thirst goes down. And I actually have never sat down and read through this. So, bloodline quality is E. That's pretty bad. That's below D. So I'm presuming as you make dragons, as you take eggs, you get certain attributes attributed to you. So obviously your armor, I guess it's your resistance to different types of like damage. They have pierce, blunt, fire, frost, plasma, lightning, acid, and venom. Vitals are good. 100 my health, my armor, and my stamina. I don't know how the armor goes down. Maybe it's just like that's the base and you could get percentage more. Mutation points available. Haven't done any of that. My skin is wild, galaxy, nesting, immature, forgot forest, comfort, comfortable, egg incubation possible. Huh. But I guess over here on this side, you'll see your heritage and then your genetics. And that's why the overall bloodline quality is an E. Is because I have really bad stats. My bite force is a B. Bite force is, I guess, okay. It looks like everything else is doo-doo. Water retention B minus. That's okay. But I wonder if there's a above S, or I mean if they're above A, if there's like an S quality or anything like that too, because then that would mean, oh, I think he just ate that guy, ate that child. Yeah, it's an all-you-can-eat buffet right here. So let's get hunger down to 0. As I eat, my sickness goes up, which I do know when you eat, you have to sleep. Oh my goodness, they are quite literally harvesting the world. So you lay down, and I'll watch my sickness drop, the very bottom bar. Oh, and there's a compass at the top. Okay. I just want to be a white dragon so I can see. It's amidst the night, so there's not too much you can do. So far, so good. Interesting. I don't know. Do we call it here? Nice little, what is it, hour and a half? Nice little hour and a half stream. It's good to come back and stream every now and again. I get bored. And I don't know if everyone wants to play League of Legends at the moment, but I think that's what it would appear they are all playing Teamfight Tactics, and I am not good at the game. Too much brain power. I bit his tail. It's kind of cool I can go invisible, which fits the lore of dragons. Huh. Interesting. Okay, okay. I cannot tell. It sounds like somebody is biting behind me somewhere. Well, that's it for me. I think that's all this game really is. It's all that really entails. In any case, thank you everybody who stopped by. Thank you everybody who followed. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Much appreciated. You guys, like always, are the best, and I appreciate it. I will hopefully be back. I want to start streaming again soon, like proper games. Hopefully with